All right, it's time for Anwar. So we're super happy to have Anwar with us here today. He's an interdisciplinary artist from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he focuses on self-portraiture and puppetry and community art. He's a recent graduate of the UW-Madison MFA 2020, where Floyd Pruitt earned a BFA also in sculpture from UW-Milwaukee in 2016 and a BA in psychology from Harvard in 1999. Floyd Pruitt teaches papercraft puppetry workshops and produces a family-friendly sing-along called Hip Hop Puppetry Party. That's a lot of P's in there, Anwar. That's stumble-worthy. Anwar also has solo exhibitions and some mural commissions this summer. He's got a lot going on. Let's hear more from Anwar.
Thank you, and thanks for having me here today. I am so just overwhelmed with just all the information I've learned today. It's so fantastic. So yes, thanks Sean and Emily for inviting me. I figure I would just start by showing a quick video of some puppetry.
I've been having these strange dreams where I'm a rapper, for crying out loud, and I'm a human sometimes. Gross. Yeah, right? This is all confidential, right, Doc?
Hey, everybody, there's something you should know. It's time to start, but I'm on the Anwar show. Bye, die, die, die. Grab a seat or stand if you like. Just make yourself comfortable and let's go on a ride. Join me for a ride. Are you down to ride? Ride, ride.
I'm happy. I'm not that happy. I'm happy. I'm pretty mad. I'm really happy. I'm actually kind of pissed off. Why? We're happy. We're not happy. Yes, we are. No, we're not.
Dancing and faces everywhere. My deceased cat is my DJ.
It's MC, it's MC, it's MC, it's MC, woo! It's MC, woo! Hello, 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 it's MC, it's MC, it's MC, it's MC, woo! It's MC, woo! Hello, 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 it's MC Green, MC Green, MC, 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 woo!
I just, like, where, you can't make this stuff up, Doc. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, my subconscious, is that what it is? then I had this other dream, and it just really threw me for a loop, Doc. I don't know what it means.
No, you can't have my shoes. You can't have my shoes. But they're so beautiful. I want your shoes. No, they're my shoes.
Thank you for watching that. So yeah, as Sean mentioned earlier, one of the big parts of my practice is self-portraiture, and that has been combined into the puppets. Early in the video, you saw me operating some puppets that were taller than me, and so those are all abstract mixed media self-portraits, and all of the drawings on the screen behind me are also really fast contour line drawing self-portraits where I'm wearing headphones. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my virtual background. So to show you the actual background that I have here today, and we can start talking about the make and take. And I do want to be mindful of the time, and that is not one of my strong suits. So Sean or Emily, please do just remind me of where we are. But if you got the PDF for the Pocket Puppet, then you probably saw this puppet right here. And this is the one from the PDF. And essentially the Pocket Puppet is, it's two pieces. It is the pocket, which is a sleeve kind of open on one end, and then a slider, which goes into the, oops, wrong way, into the pocket. And you just want it to be a little loose enough that you can easily pull the, either raise the pocket up and down or pull the slider down and force it back up. And one of the cool things about these pocket puppets is that they're double-sided. So that's one of the great opportunities. And these have been great for working with youth. So the easiest way to make a pocket puppet today would be to start with an envelope. This is a smaller sized envelope. I had a ruler with me. At any rate, it's not your standard business size. It's a little bit smaller. And what I like to do is seal it. So this one's actually sealed now. And then just go ahead and fold it in half after you seal it. And then cut or tear along the midway point. So I really love the aesthetic of tearing, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut for today. And so depending on the envelope you are using, with this specific size envelope, you've got these two pieces now. And if you just turn one of the pieces to the side, this would very easily create your slider, which then should go inside of your pocket, which would be the other side. And there you already have the whole workings of a pocket puppet, pocket and a slider. And the next thing would be to sort of start adding your faces. I draw a collage. You can see with this example right here, I drew on it and then used some like sticky tape for the top. And again, the double-sided feature is one of the things I sort of think is, most exciting. You know, a lot of my work is made from paper and recycled materials. So if you remember the little segment from the video with the 6 puppets who MC blue, MC red, MC yellow, MC orange, you know, if you looked at the aesthetic, it's all just sort of cobbled together from pieces of paper that, you know, are approximately that color. If you don't have a, one of these smaller size envelopes, then I'm just going to seal this one. And let's just pretend that this is a larger size envelope. And so I'm just going to cut off the end here. So, so if you had a larger envelope, you may very well end up with a pocket that is about this size. And in this case, you can make actually a larger pocket puppet just by adding, taking an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, folding that and using it as your slider. And well, I've misplaced my copy paper, but I think that's okay. You'll understand. But I do have the example from the PDF where I took just another sheet of paper, folded it in half, and then put it into the pocket. And you can see that this is sort of like a used envelope even, and I just have one clean side. So, some of the next steps with the pocket puppets is, of course, I said like drawing or collaging your faces onto them. And one of the crucial steps in that process is making sure, actually, let me just use a fresh one here. Making sure that it moves properly, but then also I like to draw my upper lip first. I'm going to use a thicker marker. I'll just go ahead and pin this to the wall. So yeah, I like to draw my upper lip first on the pocket. I'm right-handed, so I'm drawing with my left now. And so then I've got my upper lip established. And then you just want to find the sweet spot where you can like sort of, pull your slider very easily. And when your slider is sort of towards the top of the pocket, you can go ahead and draw in your lower lip. And so then when you pull down, you get the opening in the mouth. When you push back up, you get the mouth is closed. No, I actually made the nose a little small on this one. Wow, that's getting really abstract, but that's okay. So some of the tips and tricks or hacks would be, for instance, collaging onto your pocket puppet. So using just, you can see that this part right here, that's all blue, is kind of my standard pocket puppet. But then just by gluing, a face onto it, you can still get functionality. So make a larger puppet from, a smaller size pocket. And again, they're double-sided. This one is very much in the vein of some of my other self-portraits. So this is one of my modeling headshots from 20 years ago. And, I put on these special eyes. And then I just, so you can see, here's the basic pocket puppet, but I just glued the photograph onto the basic pocket puppet. So you can do that with your envelope puppets. You can do it with any version of the pocket puppet. One of the, if you had a hole puncher and sort of a larger hole punch like I did here, I went ahead and took my pocket and I punched holes for the eyes with a pretty sturdy hole punch, and then punched a hole for the mouth, put my slider back in. And so then when you pull your slider up and down, the eyes move a little bit, and this mouth is actually, on the slider and not drawn onto the pocket, the pocket portion of the pocket puppet. Hip hop puppet party. That is a lot of peas, Sean. And I think one of the last sort of tips or tricks or hacks is this version right here, where I've taken my pocket pocket puppet, and I turned the pocket upside down. So then this one is operated from above. So instead of, so I just pull the slider up and down. And as you can see, I've also sort of punched those holes for the eyes and the mouth. And then this body here is actually just sort of pinned onto this board along with the pocket puppet. So those are all of the, those are some of the, I guess what I call the pocket puppet basics. And I would love to answer any questions if anyone has any, or as Sean and Emily, please do tell me about the time constraints, because I don't want to, just want to be mindful.
I think you're fine on time. Mostly people are just oohing and ahhing about your puppets.
Thank you.
And specific questions, but and Kyra has put in links to your artwork and various other things. And someone does ask a question as to why paper as a medium.
Sure, sure. And I think that's a really important question for me. And really, I think that paper feels very democratic. One of the reasons I make, the puppets the way I do is so that I can easily, and I run a lot of workshops for youth. And so one of the purposes is to easily show a young person how to make the puppet, but then also that, and then they can probably teach someone else. The materials are not expensive. And this is, I've gone through a few different iterations of different sort of paper craft puppets made from recycled materials and things. And this is the most simple, because you can just use an envelope for, from the mail. I want kids to be able to teach I want people to be able to teach others how to do it. When I went to the National Puppetry Festival in Minneapolis 2 summers ago, one of the seasoned puppeteers said that the best thing about the business was that you could always make a living if you were willing to do children's parties and corporate events. And, I work with incarcerated youth. I work with marginalized youth, youth who do have to work, as a way of, helping their families. And for the sort of art-inspired young person who, falls in love with this, puppetry and this like sort of easy style of puppetry, then this is a great opportunity. I think in every neighborhood, there's always someone having a birthday. And for the enterprising teenager, I think this is a way to earn some money. And I work with kids in juvenile detention, and a lot of times they're getting there for stealing, and sometimes it's for fun, and sometimes it's for for the money. And then here's a way that they can use their artwork to to support themselves. So I think that's one of the main reasons I use paper. Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
that one of the other things I'm seeing there, Emily and Anwar, someone has said, is Robert Rauschenberg someone who's interesting to you? Is Paul Klee someone who is interesting to you? Can you talk about it, a forebear for visual aesthetics?
Sure. Well, I think, in terms of the collage, my sort of earliest introduction to collage, one of my earliest introductions to collage was Romar Bearden. And so, particularly him taking these photographs of, New Yorkers during the Harlem Renaissance, and then collaging those into, other individuals who felt like they could like represent that time and that place. So, self-portraiture or collage is certainly one of the most integral parts of my practice. I think also, before I even claimed the title or owned the title of artist for myself, I was interested in, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name, the gouache cutouts, Matisse. Matisse's gouache cutouts. And I would say that seeing those and getting a book about Matisse's gouache cutouts was one of the moments that changed my life. That would have probably been in my late 20s. And I just started, I was married at the time, and my ex-wife bought me a sketchbook, and I made a drawing, and I hated the drawing and put the sketchbook away. And then she was like, well, you know, I spent good money on that sketchbook. You should probably use it. And so I just started collaging and filling sketchbook after sketchbook after sketchbook. And I really just haven't stopped.
I'm going to throw one more, and Emily, maybe if you see one more burning thing, because otherwise we should roll on. But there were two folks that were wondering about the elastic that you use for your springinesses.
Yes. You know,
Technical term right there.
Springiness. when I packed my bag, I definitely had one of those puppets that uses the elastic, and I apologize because it doesn't look like it actually made it all the way to the studio with me. That's a different style of puppet and not necessarily the pocket puppet. That one uses corrugated cardboard and a rubber band as a means of just being able to use one hand to pull the neck of the puppet or the jaw of the puppet down and it popping back up. So yeah, I again, I apologize that I don't have that one with me. And but Emily has one. Perfect. Thank you, Emily.
Right.
I faked this from his presentation for the National Puppet Society, and I think actually Jerusha Graham introduced me to this, and I think mine is slightly different, but it's basically just the cardboard, and then the elastic goes around both parts, and there's a straw that allows you to pull it up and down on a chopstick. And Anwar did it where he has kind of a block and the rubber band goes around the block. So there's obviously this is subject to a lot of interpretation, but again, it's very immediate. You know, it's a couple rubber bands and a straw, which I'm always trying to get him not to give me, and chopsticks. Right. So, you know, there's a lot of takeout last year. So
there's and I'll say this much, I know my time is coming to an end soon, and I do want to say thank you to everyone. Alexander Calder is a really big influence, and Calder did these circuses that are just fantastic, and there's sort of old footage of Alexander Calder's circus around. But yeah, and to Emily's point, with all of these designs, there's so many ways to hack them. There's so many ways to change them. There's so many ways to sort of remake them and find new ways of creating and new movement in them. And that's one of the reasons I love them so much as well. When I'm doing workshops with people, I always learn something myself and always inspired by just how other artists and creative people will use very simple designs. So thank you so much, Sean. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah.